Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome back. Today I am doing one of the biggest book hauls that I have done in a long time. It really is. I have 24 books to show you, and this is mostly because August was my birthday month, so I not only got books for my birthday, but I also got gift cards for my birthday from Amazon and various other places, and I usually choose to use Amazon gift cards to catch up on series that I don't own all of the books of, so I got some of those in here. If you watched my very first reading vlog for this month, I went to a used bookstore and found some really good stuff there, and I also placed a book outlet order that I had been curating for a very long time. So no semblance of an order, I'm just gonna jump into it. The first book that I have to show you, I'm not sure why I didn't haul in my last haul. I must have just forgotten about it, but that is A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. This is actually a signed copy. This is the third book in the Torch Against the Night series, which I guess is what it's called. Anyways, I am almost caught up. I still have to read this one. There's gonna be 4 books total, I believe, in this series. I just finished A Torch Against the Night this year. It took me forever to read it, and I haven't gotten to this one yet, but I have made strides. I did also get this on audiobook, so I think that will help me get to this book very soon. If you guys don't know what this series is about, it is a high fantasy young adult series that takes place in a world where martial law is kind of implemented, and we have the empire ruling everything with this kind of corrupt government, and then we have the lower class, and then finally there is a slave class. And in the first book, it follows a soldier. It follows the perspectives of a soldier in the empire, in like the higher ranking officials, as well as a slave who accidentally finds herself in a rebellion. It's so good. I would highly recommend this series. Sabaa has such a great knack for writing characters, and I just love it so much. The next 2 books I actually picked up at the used bookstore, and I haven't read any books in these series, but I've heard amazing things about it, and that is The Obelisk Gate and The Stone Sky, the second and third book in the Inheritance trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. All 3 of these books have won the Hugo Award for fantasy and science fiction, so it intrigues me. It's also a fantasy. If you guys did not know, this author is an African-American author, and I've heard such good things about this series that when I saw these at the used bookstore, I couldn't help but pick them up to complete my series. Next up, we have a book that I've been wanting to read for such a long time, and I finally picked up a copy of it, and that is Dune by Frank Herbert. Frank Herbert is known as pretty much the father of science fiction. He is one of the most well-known adult science fiction authors, and this is considered pretty much a classic masterpiece. It's huge. This series is well known for its commentary on humanity and its philosophical principles, and it kind of gets to the root of the science fiction that I love, which is, of course, those philosophy kind of principles and commentary on humanity. I don't know when I'm gonna get to this because it's freaking huge, but I picked it up. Look at this cover, it's so nice. Then I found at the used bookstore The Bitter Kingdom by Ray Carson, the third and final book in the Girl of Fire and Thorns trilogy, of which I have read the first one and I gave a 5 out of 5 stars. It was so good. This is a young adult fantasy series that follows our main character, who is given this religious gem. She is born, once every 100 years, someone is born with a religious gem in their stomach, basically, and where their belly button is. And our main character is a 16-year-old daughter of the king of one kingdom, and she has this religious gem, and they're trying to keep it a secret because obviously other political powers are vying for this gem. It holds great power, and it is held in great regards among all of the kingdoms in this world. And our main character is married off at the very beginning of this novel, and she's very insecure about herself, but she really grows into her own, and I know I'm gonna love the next 2 books, and I had to complete my series when I saw this at the bookstore. Next is a book that I picked up real cheap on Book Outlet, and that is This Song Will Save Your Life by Layla Sales. This is about a girl in high school who doesn't feel like she fits in when she stumbles upon an underground dance club scene and finds her love for DJing. And I I haven't heard much about this book, but the things I've heard are really good, and it seemed like something I would want to read at the time, and I'm still interested in it. I also picked up The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. This is a young adult novel about witches, and witches that were burned at the stake 200 years ago, coming back and kind of taking over people's bodies to seek revenge, and it seemed like the perfect autumn read, so I'm excited to get into this. I picked up Let It Snow, 3 stories by John Green, Warren Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. I have already completed this. I just felt the need to do a reread for this upcoming Christmas. I actually only ever had an arc of this book, so when I saw this for like $2 at the used bookstore, wanted to pick it up. Again, 3 contemporary stories during Christmas. I can't wait to jump back into this one. Another one of John Green's books that I picked up was An Abundance of Katherines. This I had previously owned and lent out to a friend. So again, saw this at the used bookstore, wanted to complete my collection because I don't think I'm ever gonna get my original copy back. I picked up a copy of Specials by Scott Westerfeld. This completes my Uglies Trilogy by Scott Westerfeld series, and I've just been collecting these when they come up on Book Outlet, getting them for super cheap, and now that I have this one, I think I'm going to do a reread of this series. This is a young adult dystopian, and actually I think Scott Westerfeld has a spin-off book in this world coming soon, so I really should do a reread because it's been years since I've read this book. I picked up The Goosegirl by Shannon Hale. I have read a lot of Shannon Hale books. However, I don't know much about the Goosegirl fairy tale, and I know this is the first book in a like middle grade series, and I was just feeling it. I wanted some cute middle grade fantasy, so I picked this one up on Book Outlet, and hopefully I'll be able to get to it soon. It looks so cute and like so much fun. Man, I'm really putting a lot of faith that I'm going to like this series because I picked up Sight Witch by Susan Dennard on Book Outlet. This is the novella in the Truth Witch series, of which I own now all of the books that are out in it. Have not picked up a single one. I'm really hoping that I like this. It's definitely in my 5-star TBR predictions. Like, I really think I am going to. I need to stop buying the books though before I actually read the first one and commit to it. But this cover is so pretty and it's gonna look so good. This is like a novella about a spin-off character. I can't tell you much about it because it would spoil me and it would spoil you. The next book that I picked up I'm super excited about. It's called If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. This is an adult mystery novel that follows a Shakespeare company, and during one of the performances something went really wrong, and one of the players is put into jail, but he maintains his innocence. So 10 years after he is released, the detective that put him there is there waiting for more answers, and I've heard fabulous things about this book. I really am hoping this is a nice October read for me because it's an adult mystery and hopefully a little bit thrilling too. I picked up 2 more Jane Austen novels in the Vintage Classics editions, the first one being Persuasion and the second one being Mansfield Park. This is just another journey into completing my Jane Austen collection. I own Sense and Sensibility and Pride and Prejudice already in these editions, so I saw these on Amazon. For a while I couldn't find these anywhere, so when I saw them on Amazon I jumped at the chance to get these ones. Now I only have 2 left, Northanger Abbey and Emma, and I will have a complete collection. Another series that I picked up the rest of the books on Book Outlet for super cheap that I'm putting a lot of faith in is the last 3 books in the Queen's Thief series, and I don't know which order these go in off the top of my head, but that's A Conspiracy of Kings, The Queen of Atolia, and The King of Atolia. This is a young adult fantasy series that is kind of a staple in the YA community, one of the first young adult fantasy series I believe out there, and I just wanted to complete my collection and get to this soon. The next book that I have to show you is Walk on Earth, A Stranger by Ray Carson. Again, saw this on Book Outlet for super cheap. I really enjoy what I've read of Ray Carson so far, so I picked up this book. This takes place during the gold rush, where our main character has this special ability to sense gold, and that obviously makes her a hot commodity among people, so she's trying to keep her powers hidden. And this is a historical fiction with a twist of magic, which I think I'm going to enjoy very much. Then I picked up Ancillary Justice by Ann Leckie. This is an adult science fiction novel that follows our main character, who was very high up in the intergalactic forces. She was very high up on this artificial intelligence ship, which was part of the intergalactic forces, galaxy, empire, whatever it's called, and a bit of treachery rips that all away from her, and all she's left with is basically herself, and she is on the path for vengeance, and it looks so good. It also won the Hugo and Nebula Award, so I'm ready to dive into this. I picked up The Black Prism by Brent Weeks, the first book in the Lightbringer series. This is an adult fantasy novel that I believe has an amazing magical system that involves light and prisms, obviously, and it follows our main character, who's really high up in this political world, discovers he has a son in a different kingdom that was born after this massive war, and that's how this book starts, and we're kind of following this main character's journey and deciding what he wants to do, go to his son, stay in the political intrigue. I've heard really good things about this. The fourth book, I believe, just came out, so that's why I've been hearing a lot of things about this series, so I figured I would take a gander and pick this one up. I picked up a book of poetry, Uncaged Wildflower by Janae Cecilia. This is actually way smaller than I expected it to be. I believe it's self-published, but I've heard really good things about this, and I'm excited for some new poetry, and this one looks so good. Finally, guys, finally, I bought the last two books in the Raven cycle by Maggie Stiefvater, consisting of Blue Lily Lily Blue and The Raven King. I read The Raven Boys last month, and I absolutely adored it. I finally finished it, and I know I'm going to get through the rest of these series, so I wanted to pick these up in hardcover so they would match the rest of my set. And if you guys did not know, the Raven Cycle is this very interesting paranormal, urban fantasy, magical realism series that just is so atmospheric and amazing, and there's psychics and ghosts and just all this really good stuff. So that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, this book haul. If you did not know, I'm doing a video every day in September. I'm super excited about it, so I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye!